We're gonna set the fire chief. Oh, which one? Aaron Rocky.
Town of Delaware regular meeting called to order. Roll call and establishment of quorum.
Let me get my bearings here. Duncan?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Bain?
Yes.
McGrew.
Well, I almost said it. DCB. Well, it's,
Complete the oath of office and loyalty oath for elected council member J.D. Bainey Jr. Where's your robe?
we don't mean terry cloth.
Guys need to sign these, or do
You
I
gotta
actually read
actually
them?
have to take the,
Yep, you need to read your oath.
Yeah, you have to read.
one of my glasses.
Which one do you want me to, or both of them?
Your loyalty oath.
This one?
Yep.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and the law of the United States of America and the Constitution and law of the United States of Oklahoma, and that I will faithfully discharge, according to the best of my ability, the duties of my office or employment during such time as I am. There ain't a position in the office yet,
Council
so,
member.
just council member. Council member followed by the complete designation of the employee, officer, agency, authority, commission, department of institution.
And you sign it.
Yeah, that's
That's
it.
it.
Vote on mayor and vice mayor positions effective for the June meeting.
Shannon made the motion, are you going?
A second, I'm sorry.
Okay. Collins?
Yes.
Duncan?
Yes.
Bain?
Yeah.
Is there a motion?
So I would make the motion then for J.D. Bainey Jr. To be the vice mayor since Casita has opted out.
No, I didn't opt out of that. I don't want to be mayor.
Oh, well, I make a motion that we, for Casita to be vice mayor. She's got experience with the council.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Collins?
Yes.
Duncan?
Yes.
Bain? Okay.
Report from the fire department, discussion, consideration, and possible action on monthly operations and maintenance.
For the month of April, we had total 11 runs, 2 grass fires, 4 structure fires, 3 storm watches, and 2 medicals.
Hang on. How many storms? Sorry.
4 storm.
3 storm watches, 4 structures.
3 storm, 2 medical.
Thank you, sorry.
Total 11 runs. We went in with no water, us and Alloy did. We went in and had our annual air pack test done. I ain't received a bill on it yet. The packs, the people we used, I can't remember who they were. Can you? National, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's national.
They only service Scott air packs. They come to Nowata and set up, and we haul our packs down there. They require us annually to have them flow tested, and the good thing about this, the using them, is they flow test them, and what is broke, they fix them on site. So that's the good thing about them. And I have not yet received a bill on that. And but we've got everything, all the records back in the file for when ISO stops by that they've passed and everything. That's the first year that I was aware that they have to be annually done. So until Nowata got us on, I was going to opt out of it because we bought them from Southtown, and they have them tested in, but didn't know it was annually, so. But they're all tested, so we have 12 packs tested. No. So, I mean, it's a good thing. We went out on storm watch the other night. We come back, and the tires on 82, one of them had a blowout. I don't know how long it'd been there. It'd been there a while. And one of them had a bad cut in the sidewall, and one of them was separated. And that was them tires we bought from Mr. J's back when we first got the truck, because we'd already replaced the two. The Cheyenne cut them right off the bat as soon as we got them in. So Gilbert suggested that we install 4 tires on there. So we bought 4 Nextons from him, went up with a little $100 brand on them. That truck is back in service. So. And other than that, that's all I have besides our fundraisers coming up June 9th.
Can I ask you, I've had several people ask, what are the criteria for setting off the storm sirens?
We was gonna test it last Friday, but with the rain and the storms coming in, I didn't wanna set it. And I told them, I've had several people stop by and ask me too, if it's sunny and clear, we'll test it.
I mean, I guess I should, during a storm,
Yeah.
what are the factors that you use?
If the storm is directed our way, we will sound it if it's gonna interfere with our town, in town. Because if it's gonna stay out in the country, I don't feel the need in making everybody in town panic if it's far enough out there, because they ain't gonna hear it anyway.
Okay. I was asked, so I figured,
Yeah.
I said, I don't know
We
what
was, the last 3 storms we've had, we was in no danger or line of the storm at all. So we was out on it and watching it. So, as a matter of fact, I had 2 people sitting at the station just to make sure that the paging dill didn't work, that they could turn it on by the key and get out of there. We are going to test it. We're going to try to start testing it on Fridays at noon, if weather permitting. Because I know, and like I told the people that stopped by and have asked about the tornado siren, it don't matter how much we put it out there or how we warn it, that you're still going to get 1,500 phone calls. What's going on? Is there a storm coming?
Yeah.
So we're going to start trying to sound it Friday at noon.
We'll put it in the newsletter.
Okay, and I'm going to put it on our Facebook page at the fire department, for the fire department. So maybe, hopefully, it'll reach out to everybody and it'll eliminate some of the phone calls. Because, I mean, you could even just barely bump it, just trying to, and the phone starts ringing. So.
Yeah. Well, it depends on how the wind's
Wind,
blowing
yeah.
as to how far it reaches.
Well, I had Rosie ask.
Yeah, it
she's
just
gonna be-
depends.
A tornado siren is not intended for people inside, it's intended for people outside.
I was just gonna add that.
So-
You are supposed to have at least 2 other alternate ways of tracking storms, so,
They
yeah.
are, our protocol is, they're not intended for people outside, they're intended for people inside. And usually when we sound the siren, we send a truck back into town to run the streets with the siren and then get out, so.
Well, I know
That's what we
there's
kinda
a
do
lot of
for-
backlash in Nowata regarding their storm sirens, and
That
the
was
statement
confusing.
that was made, that was, they're intended for people outside to hear, and people just don't understand that.
Even though we still have a siren, we're gonna run 413 and down to 17 and back up to 16 with our sirens and try to get every street in town, so, before something happens. That's why we usually try to leave a couple people at the station, but.
And if you have any information for me to use in the
I
newsletter
absolutely
regarding,
do.
I would love
do.
to have some.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody says they can't hear it from in their house, but it's not, they're not intended for
We sure
people
can.
inside. They're, yeah, if you live under it, you can, but it's not intended
Right,
for people
yeah.
outside or inside.
It's intended to warn those that are outside to take shelter, and, yeah. So everybody's, I mean, you know,
There's mixed feelings about it.
there is, but especially in our situation where you have to manually set them off, that's,
Ours is, we can manually or no water Winnipeg can page ours and set ours off.
Can they? By
Yes,
pager?
and shut it
Okay.
off.
okay.
But there has been kids flip the breaker, because one time we sounded it, couldn't do it, turned on with the key, didn't do it, but they flipped the power to the breaker on it.
Oh my.
So,
Yeah, it's a,
but I think they think they're killing power to that building when they do that. But
yeah,
it's
they
just a
probably
tornado
think
siren.
they are.
So, yeah, that's
Yes,
what I
will
come
get
up
some
with.
information to you.
So,
Yeah.
we probably ought to lock that breaker up, so. keep it
Well,
together.
and then when you go to use it though,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to make sure somebody has access to it,
Yeah,
so.
we'll just keep the tornado key in the,
Well, there can, yeah, it can be two different parts.
so.
Item B, look at options for a fuel card.
I wasn't here at the last meeting. Did anybody bring the others? I've got it printed off.
Okay.
But what I read,
Until next.
yeah, what I recommend is the finish line and the first one, but I got the other two at the house and I forgot to bring them and I didn't know.
Okay. I need to make a motion to table that. Make a motion to table item B to look at options for a fuel card till next meeting.
Second.
Is there a second? Collins?
Yes.
Duncan?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Discussion, consideration, and possible action on the E911 system. Local representative Rocky Sales here to address the council.
Okay. As y'all, most of you know, maybe some of you don't, Delaware, Lenapaw, and Alloway voted me in to serve on the 911 committee as a fireman representative. And there's 3 of us on there, one from South Coffeyville, Noah. And what I wanted to do is give you an overall scenario briefing of where we stand. Because this has ended up a bigger headache than you thought. Because South Coffeyville voted it in years ago, and we just voted it in 2 years ago. And we got till January to get it operational. So it's exciting. But as of right now, we went 3 weeks ago. We let out bids for the mapping, and that's been approved. We're waiting now for the letter of authority to be worked out between the county commissioners and the assistant district attorney. But the mapping company out of Kansas won the bid, the same one that did it, I guess, for Doug some years ago, because they started at Highway 10. Well, we went out and researched all this because I took this for one thing. To me, I went to a county commissioner meeting several months back because I've spent 33 years in the Army, and I know what communications is critical, and especially us in the fire department running to a medical call. Well, we found out that Washington County's system ain't very good. Rogers County 911 system is terrible. So we're going to implement from Coffeyville and Craig County and go from the northern border south. Good. Because they've got the best 911 system going, by our understanding. And the bid come in a lot cheaper than we thought, because the packet we got from Oklahoma City told us it'd be like $150,000 just to do the mapping. Well, that come in at $31,100.
Yeah.
So we're on the right track. Then we set up a service committee because there's only 3 of us on the board, and we got together and decided we needed people's input. Because that's like why I'm here, and when I get done, I'm going to ask you if you have any. Because, you know, this is Nowata County. And I really felt bad because there's one representative for 4 towns, and then you got one person from one town and one person from another town, and all the rest of us are putting in for one. So we went out and got people to serve on this committee, the input. So we got somebody from the sheriff's department, the ambulance department, the county commissioner, and so forth, where they can input too, and then we take it all in consideration and go forward. We're setting up a trust authority. We voted that in 2 weeks ago. That's have to have a trust authority approved by the deal. We're waiting the approval back from the district attorneys writing it up in order to spend the money. There's $160,000 that's already in the account that we know of where they're charging us right now on our cell phones. There's a dispute, and we're still trying to work it out. There was either 5 or 15% supposed to be on landlines. Well, when it was voted in, it was supposed to be 15% for the first year, and then it dropped for 5% from here on in. Well, AT&T went it backwards. So we're trying to work out that problem right now. Of course, there's not that many landlines stuffed in the county. But some of us, like me on the city council, I'm the only one in town all the time. I have to have a landline. Because I can't, cell phone I don't get a message half the time. And now we're working, we got a draft started on the 911 plan, but here's where we stand right now. We found out that it's like $500,000 to start your own 911 system. Well, that can't happen in Nowata County. So right now we're looking at two options. We're either going to piggyback with somebody else and put a dispatch center in Nowata County, or we're going to contract it out with a different county. Now, as of last week, we ain't got but one or two counties interested to even help us. But we're still researching because we can set up our own for like $126,000 in Nowata somewhere. Well, right now we're trying to find a facility that we could do it. We're working out to see what it's going to cost overall, how many people we got to have, to man it, all that stuff. But it is the three. Actually, to tell it, I get in trouble because I tell it like it is. The guy from South Coffeyville is about a ball of fire, and him and I work together, and we email back and forth. But we've come farther in 3 months than they did in 2 years. Now, the commissioners have been great. Most of them. Again, I say, he'll get in trouble, but I don't care. But we're gaining. I think I know it's gonna happen. The hardest thing of all of it is draft the SOP, or the standard operating procedures. We got a draft from different counties and looked at it, and I haven't worked with that kind of Greek since I left the Army, and that's been 10 years ago. But sitting down and writing a whole plan like she's having to do for Nowata County is taking some time. But our number one goal, I'm not walking away from this thing till we have a dispatch system that works.
Now, you talked about a facility. Will that be a facility that will be manned 24 hours a day?
Yes.
That's a requirement.
So that's going to have to be something that's...
And the biggest thing to this is everybody you talk to that's put one in. We met with the lady from Rogers County. I thought it was Rogers County. It's really Cherokee Nation. She's on top of the world of this. She's helped us immensely. But the biggest kicker to it is when we started, it was more or less we said, we're going to go do the 911 system and get an operation. You're looking at a maximum 5-year program, or minimum, but the max they want you looking 10 years ahead, because it's here to stay. There's some counties in Oklahoma that's having to rewrite the whole thing because of this. There's one county in western Oklahoma we talked to that is in the same boat we are. There's 5 counties in Oklahoma that don't have 911 system. One of the counties I talked to, and they're really fighting because theirs was a mutual agreement for 20 years. The city did this much, the county did this much. Now the state says you're going to do this, and each one of them say, I didn't do this, you did it. No, you did it. So they don't know what they're going to do out there. And there's no other money available. The word got out that there was $5 million sitting there to enhance this. It's all going to come from what we get from taxing, the cell phones, the landlines, what we charge from the sheriff's office, fire department, whatever we're going to work out in those budgets. We've looked at 2 or 3 buildings in Nowata, but none of them is feasible for the price. And, to tell it like it is, nobody wants to work with us. They all want to sell us something. $20,000 for the old museum. I don't have $20,000. We're working on it. I've even contacted them about the empty building sitting next to the city hall was gonna use. Till I went in it, and it's got water standing. But that's where we're at.
So I went to the 911 meeting down in Tulsa, the INCOG one that is east of us, or excuse me, west of us. And I was talking to the gal from Osage County. I've worked with her before, and she said, you know, they've had a 911 center, dispatch center, so they're already developed, but she said they just had to invest $365,000 to update their equipment to be E911 compatible. So even those that had addressing and had the system already set up, they're still faced with a lot of these costs that, you know, that these requirements for
So
what they're asking.
what's the plan on where the money's going to try to, where you're going to try to get the monies from?
We're hoping to get grants.
Okay.
I've contacted one outfit in Nowata County that's helped a lot of people out, and the word I got was, we might help you out at interest-free. We're gaining, we're still a long ways off, but we're farther than it's been, and we're,
Is Cherokee Nation gonna be able to?
they've offered some, but it's not. The biggest deciding point, me personally, is the one that's on there. I want to see it stay in Nowata, and I want to see people hired and keep it.
Yes.
That's my goal. I don't want to piggyback off somebody else. But finding the facility, I know there's people, I've talked to some that's already in it that would like to transfer over and be full-time. But talking to the lady at Claremore, they're saying, you know, you're gonna have to have somebody in charge, and you gotta have two people.
At all times.
24/7.
24/7.
And I gotta get it, like,
6 people.
I'm not gonna tolerate anything like what's going on now. It's gotta be somewhere where there's, doors can be shut, nobody in and out, and the lady that's in charge, if she's got an office, is far enough away, they're separated, that we get no background noise like we put up with, that we tolerate now. Because there's nothing more aggravating to go out here on a medical call and you call back in and you ask, what was that address, and you can't hear them for the background noise. Because like I say, I did it in real world stuff. And there's no excuse for this. I don't care what they tell me. I've been there, done that. I don't want to hear this excuse.
Keep in mind, Rocky, there's only 10,000 people in the whole county.
Well, here's the thing that kicked me now, and you brought it up, so I'll tell you.
That's fine.
When I got into this, I've heard forever how poor Nowata County is. And I was specifically told by a man out of Oklahoma City, by your population in Nowata County, you're in the top 10 of the state of Oklahoma. There's no reason to be in the condition you're in.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
you-
is there another Nowata County that?
Yeah.
that shocked me to death.
Yeah.
'Cause I worked at the 23rd Street Armory for years, and you know where the 23rd Street Armory is, right? And what's just east of that building? So, you see what I'm saying? I don't know anymore other than we're gaining.
Yeah. You got it.
And I've got some really good help.
Who are the other members on the committee?
Michael Haney, the chief of police. I don't know them. What's his name?
Jerome.
Fanatic.
Yeah.
He's a ball fireman.
Yeah.
We butted heads a number of times, but I guarantee you, he don't take no for an answer from nobody. He's good. I mean, he don't, he goes one direction, I go the other. He's supposed to be handling Lenapaw, I'm doing Delaware and Warren. I even let him do part of Alloway because I don't feel it's right me going telling my own people what's going on. We call and they say, come and meet us at Durant. He's gone that way, I'm going to Oklahoma City.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Have you guys got any other questions or concerns or comments you want to make, or? Yeah. And that was my goal. And one of the questions I got, you may get on your side, when we talked about mapping, the people in town asked me first thing, is your address going to change in the mapping in town? Inside city limits, no, because we met with the Nowata Postmaster District. It's anything outside of each town. And they're going to do, it's 100 addresses per square mile, so everything is going to be covered. They won't use that many, but that's what's available per square mile.
It's already geo-assigned,
Yeah.
so wherever, and what he was saying, and I went to the one meeting where the RSC guy said, it's gonna be a flyover, and then there's gonna be places where they're going to say, okay, this cluster of buildings has to be addressed. So one of them's a barn, one of them we can't tell what it is, so there's gonna be input from residents as well. They're gonna say, we think this address should be blah, 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 but it depends on which of the buildings they're addressing, because it's all spaced out per mile already. So it just depends on where your structure is that you're addressing. So it will be assigned digitally.
That was my number one goal, because I do mutual aid with Roger County as the winging on there. And we never go on a call that we don't get lost. And the sad part of it is, their own ambulance service, like we went on the one 2 weeks ago, and they pass us. And we got a person who's in critical condition where life like no life light out. And their 911 system they can't find in their own county. So that's why I pushed hard. He from South Coffeyville did, and we got together and we're going to start up there and come this way, because there's work. We even talked to the emergency management up in Kansas, and they said, from Parsons this way, theirs is one of the best in the area, because it matches the road number, just about like you have to do inside the city limits. You go down the street, one side of the street is odd, and the other side's even. That's how they're going to do the houses on the county lines. Any other questions? Tommy? Rock throw?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Discussion, consideration, and possible action on the town making a contribution to the 2019 firework display.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Collins? Yes.
Duncan? Yes.
Yes.
Discussion, consideration, and possible action on the DYC plans for cement work at the ball field.
Well, I guess we're gonna kind of wait off on that. We have, our fireworks stand has seen its last day, and we are making one out of a container, 40-foot container. So we were going to have a cement slab poured and set it on top of the slab, but
I think we hold off until we know for sure that
where it's
Where
actually gonna
it's
sit,
sit.
for sure, we're kinda iffy, just because of Jim helps us watch so much, and so I guess we're gonna wait for a while, but we may revisit
So you want to make a motion to table this until next month's meeting? Make a motion.
Go ahead. Rollins, you made the motion to table?
Yeah.
Second. Rollins?
Yes.
Duncan? Rainey?
Yes.
Discussion, consideration, and possible action of old business, the TSET grant approval or disapproval on recommendation of TSET committee on cement work for enlarging the basketball court. We have two bids, and I make a motion, we present the bid given to us by Brooks Construction pending for the 864 square feet, so that it would match what we had. He had the wrong measurements set in, for a total of $3,888. Increase the size. This will come out of the TSAC grant that we got for health and wellness and improving.
After the backstop, the balance of our TSAT was $28,750, so that'll come off the box. So we'll have, it's looking like we're gonna have a good amount of money to do our walking track and our play structure. So,
So play structure will be the next thing up that we've got to get out of the way.
yeah.
Big toys.
Okay, Duncan made the motion. Did I hear a second?
Second.
Duncan?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Play sets are expensive.
Yeah. That's what I said. Yeah.
Any discussion, consideration of new business?
That would be me. Hi, I am Lori Summers. I am the newly appointed Director of Emergency Management for Nevada County. My primary goal right now, the short term, is to write our hazard mitigation plan that's been out of date for about 5 years. So and I have a very specific timeline on that because it is also coinciding with my master's degree, so it's going to be a project for this. I am a technical writer. I am not, I enjoy writing, so I'm going to be writing this plan. We're not contracting it out to somebody else. It's going to be in our county. It's going to be about our county. It's going to represent our county. What I do need is I need input from citizens from all over. And basically, there's a couple of things that we will do during the planning process. One of them is I will need input from everybody as to prioritizing our hazards. So I will want, my two simple questions to everybody will be, what keeps you up at night? So what hazards do you think we have that we need to do something about? We will prioritize those, and we will suggest then a mitigating project, something having to do with mitigating the damage from each of those hazards. That's basically what's in a hazard mitigation plan. They're big and thick and pretty and, sorry. Can you close that? A lot of them are big and thick and you don't want to read them and everything. My plans aren't like that. My plans are conversational, plain English. And what we need to do, though, is we also need to represent our communities. So we need to say, if you look at things, Nowata County is 563 square miles with 10,000 people. That is not what our plan is going to be like. Our plan is going to say, traditionally we've done this, or each community has this specialty or this thing that this hazard would affect. So, it's going to be specific to our county. It's going to be a great document, but, my opinion. But I do need people to be involved in the planning process. This is not going to be a protracted, long deal. This is going to start in July, it's going to end in November. So I am going to, what I'm doing right now is introducing myself. I'm asking people if they want to be notified by email to provide me with their email addresses. I will pass that around. And then as we get going, I will set planning meetings. There has to be at least 4 public meetings. So actually 3, I think, but we're going to have at least 4 public meetings. July will be pre-planning. We will actually start the planning process in August, and it will go through November, and I should have a finished product, at least the first draft, by the end of November, which would go in then for approval, first of all to our commissioners, and then to either the state or FEMA. They're simplifying that process. Actually, it used to be our finished product would have to go to the state and wait there 3-4 months, and then get passed on to FEMA and wait there 6 or 8 months. So we would never know, right, when it passed. And by the time we get it back, it's time for the annual review and update of it. So Hopefully that'll be a quicker process. Our new emergency management director for the state is really trying to streamline that planning thing, because there's lots of counties that are in limbo right now. They've provided some sort of plan and they're just waiting for approval. And we don't get to do those mitigating projects until we get the approval of the plan. But all of this enables us to apply for grant funding for things like new storm sirens, or some, I know there's been some talk about people having the storm shelter grants for individual storm shelters. There's other things, drainage projects, things like that that can mitigate floods and all that. So basically, I'm asking for you to provide me with email addresses that I can email you with the schedule that we're going to have all our meetings. And if you can't make meetings, that's fine, and you want to email me, that's fine. But the more people we have involved in this planning process, the more representative it's going to be of our community. And once they see, like the approval process, once they see how many people were involved, they really will push it through if they think that it's been, properly sourced with the community and represents the community. The other thing that actually helps us with is we have to come up with a match for grant funding for this. So we're going to apply for a grant to actually underwrite the planning process. Our match for the county will be everybody's time. So if, I'm going to note that we spent an hour talking about this, and there's, 9 of us here, 10 of us here. So each person times an hour times $10 or whatever it is, the rate they give us, that goes toward our county match, saying we've invested this much for you to give us the grant funding for us. So it's really important that I do have the involvement of people for several reasons. But I mean, really, for the planning process, I'm hoping that, we really do get people to input their ideas, and, like I said, what keeps you up at night, what should we do about it? So that's my thing, and I've been out, actually, 2 weeks after I was appointed, we had the big flash flooding, and so I've been out with commissioners. I've gotten to know them quite rapidly because we've been doing a lot of damage assessment. We are going to be applying for disaster funds, and it remains to be seen if, we'll get them, but we've had quite a bit of damage, so I've been busy in the month that I've been.
Call to order, roll call, and establishment of quorum. 7:16 by Duncan. Collins? Yes. And Bainey, all present.
Yep.
Consideration of consent agenda.
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
Collins?
Yes.
Duncan?
Yes.
Bainey?
Yes.
Report from the water and sewer department. Ethan is absent.
Yeah, he's not here. He's at his son's band concert, but we had to work on the river pump. We had to replace the river pump on Good Friday.
That's some pictures.
Yeah.
I was gonna come down and vote and see you guys.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day, but
Did we have
I could tell you that I could assist again, but I could not replace the river pump on my own. We'll just put it that way. But anyway, we got the new river pump put in, and we did get a new one ordered to replace. Yes, so it is, we have it on hand.
Was there a leak between the post office and, or what was?
It was sewer. It was from all the rain, we had a sewer.
I was wondering if we
So
had-
last Friday, we went up and I got roped into helping with the sewer clean out. So that was fun.